Sudan is one of the worst countries in the world for the persecution of the Christian church. Open Doors, an organization which monitors the persecution of Christians all over the world, actually counts Sudan as the number 4 worst country on their watch list for Christian persecution this year in 2026. In 2011, South Sudan was allowed to split off after decades of civil war to form their own country, taking the vast majority of Sudanese Christians with them. The situation for Christians in the North today is that they exist under an extreme amount of pressure and control by an Islamist regime that attempts to regulate the church in every way possible. Christian leaders are expected to cooperate with the government's orders and restrictions, or they will end up arrested or even killed or attempted to be silenced in some way. Back in 2011, the Sudanese government attempted to silence a very important leader in Bishop Bandudu Adam El-Neo from the Nuba Mountains. He was asked to cooperate with their plans, and he said no, and so they put him actually on a hit list with the goal of wiping out his leadership. It happened to be by God's providence that he was in America. He'd been invited by friends to get some medical treatment. As he was in America, he found out that the government of Sudan was invading the Nuba Mountains, was starting a horrific bombing campaign that would then go on for a decade. And so in all of this, it seemed like the church in the Nuba Mountains was not going to be able to survive this. But the good news is that they've not only survived it, they are actually growing in the midst of it. In 2004, there were only 5,000 Anglicans in the Nuba Mountains. In 2026, there's over 150 churches with over 60,000 Anglicans in the Nuba Mountains. 2 years ago, they were able to actually plant a second diocese, the Diocese of Iban. And so even the hellishness of this war in Sudan cannot stop what Jesus is doing. It's good news that the church is growing, but the reality is that in the midst of this war and everything that's going on, their resources to do the work they need to do in Sudan are immensely limited. They need a strong leadership to do this work and to guide and to steward the church's work well. And so Sudan Church Partners, our call is ultimately to come alongside of the Sudanese church and to equip them in forming Christ-centered leadership. Leadership that will steward the growth of their church well and will lead them in a strong and flourishing future. The reality of the war in Sudan is unpredictable. Every day we wake up to news of what's going on, and we know that tomorrow we could wake up to the news that the churches and the schools and the buildings are all wiped away. But at the end of the day, what we do know is that people who are faithful disciples of Jesus, who are sharing the message of Jesus with others, those people who are disciples making disciples, that work will continue regardless of what happens to the buildings, regardless of what happens to the infrastructure, regardless of what unpredictable things come in this war. We believe that by equipping the Sudanese church in the formation of Christ-centered leadership, the work that is happening in Sudan will have a strong legacy for decades to come, regardless of what happens. Do you feel called to join us in this? Do you feel called to join us in equipping the Sudanese church for this important work that they are doing? I would ask you to keep the Sudanese church in your prayers, keep them in mind, and think about ways that we can use the blessings that we've received from the Lord in our setting to come alongside of our brothers and sisters in Sudan.